What's good, y'all? At a time, Shoujo was a pillar of the anime community and probably one of the most watched genres, with shows like Lovely Complex, Kimi ni Torake, and On Host Club. Shoujo was dominant. Some of these shows were able to even gain mass appeal along with ways that influenced the entire generations of romantic preference. At some point though, it seemed like Shoujo fell out of the public eye, not being as popular as it once was. But with the remake of Fruit Baskets, a new season of Kimi ni Torake on the way, and Love Yamada, it seems like Shoujo as a whole has had a huge resurgence among anime watchers, bringing it back into the limelight. That leads us into this one of seasons where A Sign of Affection is continuing that warpath, and it's definitely a cute show, but the best thing about it is that it's an adult romance story. Like, so many problems in anime could be solved if their characters were at least in college. Plus, by following an older couple, it can avoid a lot of the annoying tropes that come with younger relationships, which is great for longtime watchers. Along with that, the colors are vibrant, and no matter where you look, there are beautiful men everywhere. So it's pretty much your typical shoujo, which is fine, but some aspects kind of dampen my enjoyment of it. Like, sometimes it might be too shoujo for its own good. First, I want to say that I'm glad it didn't take the entire season for them to confess and stop their relationship. As a fan of romance, that's probably one of the most infuriating things a show can do. But on the other hand, it felt like this one moved at the speed of light. I mean, right after they first met, it seemed like Yuki decided she was in love with him. I know love at first sight is a thing, but it's always a bit unusual to me with how fast some things can progress. And I know that's a me problem, but we stand the fronts to lovers pipeline over here, okay? It just felt like a huge jump from introductions to falling in love and him deciding he wants to protect people when apparently the idea of romance wasn't even on Itsuomi's radar in the first place. And it doesn't seem like they had too many meaningful conversations to deepen the bond. It doesn't really help that Itsuomi's face is emotionless most of the time either. Plus, while I'm at it, I'm just gonna be honest. Itsuomi in the beginning was a bit weird to me. Like, homie was way too handsy with someone he barely knew. A little later on, he learned to ask if what he was doing was okay, which is great that they adjusted. Congratulations, Itsuomi, you finally learned what consent is. But this is what I mean when I'm saying that shoujo can sometimes be too shoujo. There's absolutely no way that any of that stuff he was doing, especially something like keeping her from entering her home, would fly. But because of what it is, those actions are supposed to be swoon-worthy. I'm just saying, it was a bit much for me to the point I couldn't get lost and enjoy the moments as they were happening. Then, I'm happy for them finding each other and starting a relationship, but I'm not really interested in either of them as people. Like, so far there's not much depth to them as characters. I don't think I can name a single thing Yuki likes or wants that doesn't revolve around Itsuomi. And that kind of sucks because as far as I know, there aren't too many anime out there that have a main character with disabilities. I know this wasn't their intention, but it sort of feels like Yuki's disability is just a tool for Itsuomi to be interested in her since he's obsessed with languages. So I would have hoped to focus on that aspect of her life a bit more. You know, not to reduce her entire character to her disability, but to better understand how she experiences the world around her. And they do this to some extent already. You know, Yuki points out how she interprets the emotions behind different people signing, depending on how intense or soft their movements are. That interpretation is so interesting to me, especially since people already use their hands to put emphasis on emotions in conversation, so I just wish they would explore that word a little more. Then there were other smaller things mentioned that give you a peek into Yuki's life. For instance, she mentions that her family doesn't know sign language, which is absolutely insane, mind you. Like, this is such an important fact, but if you blink, you'll miss it. So, as a viewer, I start to question, is it because they don't think it's necessary? Do they see her disability as a burden? We won't know because it's probably not going to be explored. All I'm saying is, Oshi as a side character has more overall characterization outside of romance than our main couple, which is kind of a problem to me. And if you're wondering where that characterization is, it's him going to become a sign language interpreter, which is interesting. Again, we know more about him as a person. We don't have that for our main couple. Overall, it's still a good romance anime, but there are some things keeping it from being truly amazing. There's nothing to differentiate it from any other standard shoujo anime. If you look at the most beloved shoujo, a majority of the time there's a side plot, drama, or something to deepen the relationship and for those characters to explore and overcome. and sadly, any type of hook is missing from a sign of affection. So, while it may not be the most engaging version of a story like this, I'm glad it seems like shoujo as a genre is coming back alive and doesn't seem to be leaving anytime soon. So that's going to be it for me. Let me know what you think of A Sign of Affection, if it's enough for you as is, or do you want a little more out of it like I do. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.